the savings that you have in real estate tends to be larger than stocks and bonds and financial markets put together, right? I mean, salary is the biggest drug.
Fair.
That's
very well said.
No bigger addictive drug than salary. Withdrawal symptoms are huge when you come up.
What are the different cultural aspects that you noticed in the corporate workspaces around the world? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Inspiring the Future podcast. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Anand Narayanan, and he has about 20 years of experience in banking and real estate around the world. And today, we're going to dive into a conversation with him to understand his professionalism and understand his personal life and how he's managed to get to where he is. So, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Kadesh. Nice to be here.
So, one thing that I do want to know is the relationship between real estate and banking. These are very, very opposing fields in my mind. And I'm sure a lot of people who are coming out of college would think the same thing. So how did you manage to converge these two streams together?
Accidental marriage. So I've, the first decade of my life I've been in banking, so started off with ICICI. I was with them for almost a decade, various things in ICICI, and kind of came back to India in early 2009 during the Lehman crisis. And I know many of your viewers, whether they remember Lehman crisis or not, it was back in 2009 when the world was going through the financial crisis caused by mortgage.
Correct.
And so came back to India, landed on my feet in Bombay, didn't know what to do, didn't have a job. Real estate was the last thing on my mind. Who in the right mind from banking wanted to get into real estate, right? But then Destiny had different ideas. So I kind of stumbled into a firm called Knight Frank, which is a British real estate advisory firm, and ran the country for the residential business. And that's how real estate became my calling from there on.
Incredible. Do you see any skills that you were able to use from banking that you could directly convert into real estate?
I mean, many people forget that real estate is the largest asset class amongst most households, right? I mean, if a household has some bit of savings in a bank, some bit of savings in a mutual fund, some bit of savings in a stock, the savings that you have in real estate tends to be larger than stocks and bonds and financial markets put together, right? So real estate happens to be the 50% of most Indian households' financial savings,
I see.
So that way, I mean, whether money in the bank or money in property, it's finally money, and one needs to manage it wisely. And if it's given to you by your customer, you have to manage it responsibly. But then, it's finally taking care of people's capital, right? So from that perspective, it's not very different.
I see. Yes. So with that being said, you have managed to start Alt DRX, if I'm not wrong.
That's right.
Yes. Would you like to tell the audience it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so it's a very interesting journey, So me and a few friends got together, a dear friend in particular, and we were thinking, people can buy one share of Reliance, they can start a mutual fund with $500, you can start a fixed deposit with a bank for as little as $1,000 or $10,000, right? But if you have to buy real estate, you need truckloads of capital, right? And when you have truckloads of capital, you still don't have enough to buy the best, right? And that's when we decided, it should be possible for people to buy real estate 1 square foot at a time. Why do they need to buy 1,000 square foot apartment, save for 10 years, enough money, and then put all their life savings in one apartment, right? In one location, one city, one floor, one tower, one angle it looks at, So why can't they buy 10 square foot in Bangalore, 20 square foot in Pune, 30 square foot in Delhi, 50 square foot in Dubai,
Incredible.
And then click of a button, sell it. So looks like a game, but it's a serious business, and that's what we wanted to try.
I see.
It's called tokenizing real estate.
I see.
And that's the space that we are in. We are enabling people to buy and sell real estate 1 square foot at a time.
Lovely.
That's the journey.
That's an incredible initiative. I have really vivid imagination about what the portfolio would look like. I'm imagining I'm owning 10 square foot of a certain apartment and just looking at that 10% of that one apartment is looking quite cool in my mind, if I had to say so. So how long did it take for you to come to the point that Alt DRX is actually a good direction to do? How long has this been in your brainchild for?
A little bit of this goes back to our history in what we did. There's a bit of backstory to this.
Okay.
we did what is called a fractional real estate back in 2015, where we fractionally sold 3 office buildings across Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and the kind of appetite that we saw from the market was just
Incredible.
spectacular. It just blew us over, that fact that if a good developer comes forward and says, hey, listen, now you can buy a grade A office building for as little as 25-30 lakhs. And people just fell over each other to kind of buy that.
Yeah.
But then we didn't have the courage back then to start something on our own. So we worked for our masters until a while back when we kind of puckered up some courage. And I came back to India in early 21, and my friend was going through midlife crisis. So both of us thought, okay, chalo, we'll start something on our own. And that's how all DRX came
Well, from midlife crisis to millionaire is a great transition. So I think everything is on the right path for sure.
Hopefully millionaire is not the last stop, but
definitely. Touch wood. So how has it been? How has the experience been? Have you faced any challenges considering that it's gone from corporate to entrepreneurial now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very fearful transition, right? When you worked 20 years of your life, and everything is taken care of, right?
Correct. Yeah. Health insurance is done. This is done. Life insurance is done.
Everything. And when you climb up the corporate ladder, there are far greater things far more simpler things that are taken care of. What you take for granted, you want to go drop a check in the bank, you don't have to go. Somebody does it for you. Your car has a flat tire, somebody at work is there to fix it for you,
I see.
But then when you're running a business on your own and you have to pay your power bills for your office, and you open the internet banking of your bank account, and then you send that $1,000, $2,000 to you pay the bills, you pay the salaries for 20 people, you take care of everything around you, but for yourself, right? Meaning when you're working for somebody, month end, ting-ching, and then the salary comes right into your thing, and that ting-ching never happens when you're when you're working for yourself, and hopefully it's all worth it. But I think that's the biggest fear, right? I mean, salary is the biggest drug.
Fair.
That's
a very well
no bigger addictive drug than salary. Withdrawal symptoms are huge when you come out of it, but then I think once you're out of it, then it's a very fulfilling experience and journey. Yeah,
understood. Now, is this something that you're seeing as well? The huge rise of entrepreneurial spirit in India in general, especially with the rise of these no-code tools and low-code tools, etc. Have you found ways that these tools are being utilized in your area of expertise, which is real estate?
India per se has been a very entrepreneurial community, right? The Indian Jugaad, is well known for, while it's sometimes you use it as a stick to beat the people up, saying that I think it's the
factor,
entrepreneurial factor. You always have this ability to find solutions to things. That's the Indian Jugaad, right? If it's put in the most constructive side of things, then it works out well for most people. I think most Indians have it. I think many of us are now coming out of the so-called middle class mentality, where your dad is told, listen, beta, you have to study well, you have to get a job, you do well for yourself.
Correct.
I think that shackles are breaking up, and either people can take that plunge very early. Somebody like you, look at what you're doing, right? And it's brilliant. You've not taken up a job. You're doing what you're doing, and it's brilliant, right? You don't have that fear. Either you take that plunge at that time,
correct,
or somebody like me, who many things in my life are taken care of because of the years of working and the savings that you have, and then you pick on the courage and say, okay, chalo, now most things are taken care of, and now probably we should see what else to do. So I think Indians are entrepreneurial, and we are seeing far greater mentality because the ecosystem is doing very well. This extremely supportive environment has been created, especially in the last 10 years. Very, very interesting supportive environment, and I think that's why we are seeing so many people coming out and doing things, and it's even more gladdening to see people like you doing it rather than people like me,
No, I think people like you doing it gives people like me the courage to do it, definitely, because from what I see, there's some sort of a generational perspective. The generation that you come from did go through. It was a very systematic and a very systematic lifestyle, if I can say. The education was very systematic. The transition from education to work was very systematic. The transition from work to being a family man, very systematic. And I find that there are a lot of erratic changes in my generation with regards to that. And with that being said, once I see someone like you after having about 20 years of experience saying, I'm going to become an entrepreneur now, it makes me think that, maybe taking this corporate journey is not worth it if someone after 20 years of doing it is now going to become an entrepreneur. So, that's what I see from my perspective as entering the space. And that would lead me to my next question, actually, which is for those getting out of college or those getting into college for that matter, would you suggest going the traditional route of BBA, BSc, etc., or would you support more modern educational techniques like EdTech and these customizable diploma courses?
I think basic fundamental graduation is extremely important. I think I'm of the firm belief that whether it's the science side or the art side, whatever is where your heart lies, I think it's important to graduate and graduate well. And I think there's nothing like a solid, strong foundation of education. It'll serve you for a very, very long time. So once you've done your graduation in the space that you're passionate about, whether it's art or engineering or medical, whatever you're passionate about, right?
Correct.
Then I think it's important to possibly take a break from education and go explore the world, travel if it's required. I mean, if your dad can pay your bills, travel the world a little bit, or travel the country if you can. Work for somebody, see what the world is, and then I think one's curiosity would be invoked, and I think there'll be better direction to see what's the next course of education or reskilling that you will need. I didn't do that, I graduated and post-graduated and then went to work, right? I did nothing in between. But then I think on hindsight, it would have worked out far better if I'd taken a break, worked somewhere, and then...
Understood. It still has worked out in the best possible manner for you, which is a good thing. And now I want to get back into the real estate aspect. Can we discuss the kind of numbers that people can expect if they're investing 1 square foot at a time? Could we talk about the kind of margins that they can take on?
I think returns are related to the risks that you take in life, right?
Absolutely.
The greater the risks that you take, the far greater are the potential returns. Simultaneously, the risks would mean that you can possibly lose your shirt, right?
Fair.
So if you have the gumption and risk to go into a crypto market and buy cryptocurrency, then you go in knowing it's a gambling den, right? And you gamble away, and if you win, you win. If you don't win, you win. You lose, right? So whereas real estate is not so, because there is a physical asset,
there's a tangible aspect to it,
and there is cost, money, and time that has gone behind creating it. It is on a piece of land. I mean, God stopped making land anymore, so it's precious, right? So there is tangible costs to it. There is a principal value for it. So I think real estate is always about safety. The greatest amount of money goes into real estate because people feel it's safe. The final destination for every rupee and dollar earned, Kadesh, is real estate. Whether you're a Russian oligarch or you're a Bay Area billionaire, or an average bloke like me, all of us believe the final destination for every rupee earned is real estate because it's safe, and it appreciates in value, steady, consistent method.
Absolutely.
So I think real estate should be part of everyone's portfolio. Real estate should not be the only thing that you have in the portfolio, just like how you should not have only equity in your portfolio.
Of course.
So I think a fair mix is important. The only problem with real estate was that to add it to your portfolio, you had to have a lot of wealth. right? You needed to have a lot of savings,
Yeah, that was that huge barrier to entry.
That was an entry barrier, right?
Yeah.
So that's the barrier that is coming crashing down with the work that all DRX is doing, right?
Yeah.
You're able to enter in. You're not saddled with the fact that you have to take all your money and put it in one place where the concentration risk is so high. I mean, God forbid there's a lightning and that comes crashes on your house and you lose all your money, right? So, so I mean, that's not the case, right? Now you can actually spread your capital across various parts, and that's what people like all do. And your tenant is not going to call you and say, hey, listen, my bathroom is not working, my tube light is not working. Those hassles are not there. And that's one of the reasons why people like you all don't want to get into the hassles of owning a house, right?
Genuinely speaking, that would be the kind of doubts that I have. Like, let's say I'm investing in a house that someone else is living it. Does the way they use the house affect the value of it? Like, those are the weird kind of questions that I would have as my generation.
Indeed, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so when you have a managed real estate platform like All DRX, somebody is taking care of that asset for you.
Yeah.
Somebody is doing the initial due diligence to pick up the right assets and placing it before you, so that you can decide, all right, there's some amount of work that is done by experts.
Yeah.
And you base your decision on the fundamentals that the expert has already done.
Incredible.
And then you choose. You can spread your capital wisely. If you believe there's a great story happening in, say, Varanasi, you know, and listen, if you want to buy a house in Varanasi, you'll never buy, right? You know, unless you're from Varanasi, you know.
Yeah.
But then on All DRX, somebody else is taking care of you. You can put 50 square foot in Varanasi. You can put 100 square foot in Hyderabad if you believe Hyderabad is going to do well. I think that's the flexibility that
I love the idea of it. Yeah. It's incredible. Now I'm just imagining, like, as soon as you said that barrier to entry, right? Like, there was like you very rightly said, there was a huge restriction to entry for the specific investment because of the amount of capital required. And taking down that barrier, I'm seeing a lot of profitability. Firstly, I'm seeing a lot of scaling opportunity. I'm seeing a lot of happy people. I'm seeing a lot of people able to say that I own a house in Italy. I own a house in Dubai. Like, those are the kind of things that people want to say at the end of the day, and you're giving them that opportunity to do so. So it's incredible. It's incredible.
Right.
Now, I did want to dive a little bit into your experience around the world. And I wanted to understand for the audience who is getting into a corporate culture, what are the different cultural aspects that you noticed in the corporate workspaces around the world?
I think working in India and working overseas are two different ball games. You know, I've done that twice in my life, and
is that good?
I mean, it's very different.
It's okay.
It's very different. Even our community behaves very differently when they are overseas.
Yes, of course.
It's not just that you have to deal with another nationality and the culture that he or she carries with him. Even our own community behaves extremely differently.
Sure.
I think it does take a little bit of a time to get your bearings right and adjust yourself to the culture. But I think it's an interesting journey, you know, to work in another country, to in another currency, in another environment. It's a beautiful experience. It adds a very different lifestyle perspective to you and your family and your wife and your kid. You
Absolutely.
know? So
that must be incredible.
I think it's a jolly good experience to see. Open your window and see snow falling outside. You know, how often can you see that?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
it's. I think everybody should,
if they have the opportunity,
if they have an opportunity, should take the gumption and go outside. It doesn't matter how much money you earn.
Yeah.
If it's a rupee less, if it's $1 less, it's all right. I think the experience will be more than worth it.
Amazing. Okay, with that being said, what is your most favorite food item that you've come across? Can't be Indian, of course, but something from around the world.
I like Mexican food.
Yeah, I like incredible. Okay.
Possibly I like Mexican food because it's like Indian food. You know,
fair,
it's got a lot of flavor.
And I find a lot of similarities actually.
Yeah.
If you look at a tortilla and you look at a chapati, they're pretty much the same thing. Then they have, they call it pico de gallo and we call it rajma beans. And it's all pretty much the same.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think they have a very interesting flavor. It's different.
Yeah.
But it's something that you can relate to.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something that I like, Mexican food. Yeah.
Incredible. So now that we're on the topic of real estate, I did want to discuss a couple of things that are like happening in the real estate market. For instance, Saudi Arabia with this NEOM project that they're working on. What are your thoughts?
It's mind-boggling, you know.
Isn't it?
I mean, we were fortunate, me and Avinash, my other co-founder, we were the guest of the Saudi government a few months back. We were in Saudi, in Riyadh, for a large property and prop tech festival.
Oof.
Oh goodness, the kind of work that's happening.
Yeah.
NEOM is just is the catchy headline of Saudi. It's not the only one that's happening. I think that country is going through some spectacular transformation.
Yeah.
Breaking its shackles, so to speak. What India went through in 91, 92 when liberalization happened, and I think it's going to outshine Dubai, in my opinion. It's got everything going for it. The capital. It's a big culture shift, but I think Saudi is a place to
definitely look at.
Place to watch out. So.
Yeah,
it's very hot, but
so is Bangalore for that matter. So
no, I mean Bangalore is just the next few months. Hopefully, it'll rain this evening, so it'll be fine. Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears, we could all use a little bit of rain, definitely.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But I was looking at a couple of these videos and I was looking at a couple of the presentations that, the prince was doing of NEOM, and he was explaining the kind of benefits of it. It was incredible. But the reason that I asked that initially was, would there be a possibility that I could, invest in
NEOM 1 square foot at a time? Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome? We were there, we'd met many government officials. We met the Saudi Invest people. All of them are very excited about the work that we do. Awesome. But I think we have a tremendous opportunity in India,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I think if there's a lifetime of work for us to do here, and a lot of people need to own real estate in India. I think we have our hands full here at this point of time. Hopefully, let's see what life has in store, and if something does wash by, the waves do bring something, and then we'll have to see as to how we take it from there on and carry it forward to Saudi market. But as of now, the focus is India. Incredible
India, as they say. Now, the next thing that I wanted to ask about is with regards to investment banking. Now, as an investment banker, a lot of us, or for me specifically, I think I could try and represent a whole bunch of a demographic of people who are clueless about it. We do want to do it. We do want to get started with it as soon as possible, but the options are so vast. There are so many options, whether it is Alt DRX or whether it is a Zerodha, whether it is a Kite or etc. There are so many options for us. So how would you tell us in the simplest format to just get started, stick and go?
I think if you're young, you should take the help of a financial advisor with your wealth management RM in your bank, or there are several of them who are good. I think find a good wealth manager who can advise you. I think it's important to research before you commit your capital to any investment product. And if you don't have the time, if you don't have the inclination, it's better that you ask somebody who does that for a living
to do the due diligence.
Pay a few cents, it'll be worth your money, and take their advice to make the investment decision. But then, like I said, it's important to have a diversified portfolio. A little bit for real estate, a little bit for equities, a little bit for mutual funds, some insurance, some life insurance products, health insurance products, medical expenses are becoming extremely expensive in India. So I think a very nicely diversified investment portfolio plus a little bit of insurance products would be the right way to start, and keep systematically investing. Don't try and time the market. It's now possible for you to systematically invest in real estate, buy 5 square foot every month.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's possible. Buy 5 shares of Reliance, put $10,000 in mutual fund every month. And I think as long as you start early and keep this practice going, you'll be in a very good place when you're 10 years down the line.
Fair enough. And so my last question to you would be, where can we find Alt DRX? Is it on the App Store? Is it on the Play Store? Is there a website? How do we get access to it? Just
go to your browser and type altdrx.com and we'll be out there. So our app is under construction. It's a new product journey. Awesome. Nobody's done what we are doing. So our product journey had to first become stable. It has reached some amount of stability right now, and we'll be launching our app soon. But you can now go into altdrx.com, and in a matter of 7 or 8 minutes, you can buy your first square foot.
Amazing. All right, Anand, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
My pleasure. I think this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for having me, Ganesh. Brilliant work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Keep the flag flying high, and
Sure.
hopefully we'll talk sometime soon again.